Hey, welcome back, Rankers. How you going? A lot's happened with OpenAI and AI in general this week. Amazon's got announcements, Facebook's got announcements. I'm not even going to touch on the OpenAI saga because by the time I've finished recording, it would have changed. One thing is clear though, this sort of tech is here to stay, regardless of what happens to OpenAI. And what I'm about to show you today is not everything it's not the basket we're putting all our eggs into. It's to demonstrate what tools we've been using all year through our clients and how you can now use them in GPTs, and maybe some insights on where this is heading and how it's going to disrupt a lot of businesses. And you'll see why after these demos that I do. Okay, this first one is Meeting Mate. I put this one together just for productivity for myself. It's something I've been using as a script on my desktop for most of the year, and I've adapted it for myself over that time to get the output I want. And now I've been able to put it in a GPT, and basically I just upload a transcript of the minutes and I tell them who's in it and their responsibilities. If you're doing a Google transcript from a Google Meet or any other sort of video meeting software, you'll get a much better output than if you're just sort of recording straight off your phone. And then it produces a summary, quick overview of the meeting. Then it'll go through the key action, the key points or the key discussion points of the meeting, as it's doing now. And then it will outline those and then also talk about the action items during the meeting. And it just saves so much time in going through your notes and writing it all up, because then I can ask this GPT other questions about the meeting. I can give it background emails to give it context to the meeting, threads that may have happened that generated the meeting, that called for the meeting. So it gives it an understanding of what's going on, and then I can ask further questions. If it's a new client that we've just had a meeting with and we've just got the notes from the meeting, then I might I would have done this before the meeting actually, but I'll just say, hey, what's the buyer persona of this website? And in case you don't know what a buyer persona is, you use these to filter all your content through. It identifies key demographics, psychographics, all sorts of things. I haven't tried doing this yet, but you could probably even ask for an image of this buyer persona that it's creating for that information that you're giving it. And typically you would use this, you could even use this down at product level to get an idea of who to target a product to. And by getting all this information, you can then use that buyer persona generator to use with other GPTs that we've created. And this is how we use these tools. Once again, this was started off as a script internally that we were using, and now we can offer it to everyone as a GPT to use. And it is so useful and helpful. And if you use it, you'll find out pretty quickly. So it just goes through, gives you all that information from what it finds. Now, the important thing here is too, if this information isn't what you think it should be, then the page or the resources that you've given it to create this buyer persona is wrong, which means that you're sending the wrong message out to Google, and Google's sending you the wrong traffic because you're targeting the wrong buyers with what you're putting out there on the web. So it's a useful tool from a whole bunch of aspects. We use it for creating Google Ads campaigns with the buyer personas, EDMs, all sorts of things. Anything you can think of that needs to be focused on a buyer, a shopper, and you want to get an idea of how to tailor it specifically for them, because there's a lot of content getting created with these tools at the moment, but there's not enough thought given with the stuff that I see around who is it targeted. So if you are using ChatGPT or any of these tools to generate content with, I would highly recommend this to make sure that your content is unique and directed at your shoppers. Again, this is another content creation tool. Now, before you've seen this particular
video, I'd already asked it for some ideas for this buyer persona for content, or how they could connect, and it suggested a webinar. So now I'm asking it, all right, what sort of webinar should we do? And it's going through, and based on the meetings, the buyer personas, everything else, it's saying this is how we know who your buyer persona is, and we know where they are, and we know how to target them and with what sort of content. Then we can go through, ask more information, ask it to expand on any of these ideas, give it more information about the brand, seasonality, whatever you like. But you can get this tailored to such an extent that it's really going to resonate. At the end of this, and we might need to build this in a little bit better to the tool, but you can see that one of the things you can also do with it, based on the buyer persona and everything it has, and the piece and the article that you've asked it for, or whatever you're targeting, you can also then ask it to create an image to go with this post. In this case, it's a LinkedIn post. So there's a variety of ways that you can use the better AI content, but it's gold for using in conjunction with your buyer personas. Okay, this one's our conversion priority advisor, and basically the case in which we'd use this is if we had a problem with a product page, if we had a new client that we were looking at onboarding or thinking of onboarding, we'd use this just to assess the degree of difficulty, the amount of problems something might have. So in this one, I've gone off and asked it to access this particular website, and it's having a look at the home page and looking at a few things, and it's going to highlight for me what it believes things we could do to the home page to increase conversions, and it will prioritize those things for me, which is really handy when you are putting a quote together or you actually are just looking for a problem, because then I can take this information and I can use it with the other tools, as you've seen. This is fantastic, especially for, I think, product pages. And I've used this on a few client sites now, and the insights, you just wouldn't have time to even put in a project unless it was a major issue. But here, all of a sudden, in this one comparison between two different product pages from two different retailers, you can see how they're essentially offering a very similar product, but there are some differences highlighted by this, which you can hand back to clients and say, how about this? Or, did you know your competitor's doing this, but you're doing that? Or, is this the message you want to send? Or, and it's just so fast. And we did this with one client with a particular product, and it was not a cheap product. It was a $2,500 product. And it got down to one particular difference between his product page, and competitor's product page. And we implemented that change less than a month ago. And it has seen a 7-fold increase in sales for that product through the changes we implemented. And the changes were simply that his product didn't have an IP rating, and it didn't have anything about battery life. And when we told him that and showed him the report like this, he said, oh my God, everyone asks me about those two things. It's his FAQs, and it's not in the product descriptions. And no one would have had a chance to even think about that or look. So that's the sort of insights, and you can see right there, there's some really interesting stuff.
Now, here's the thing. I hope your mind's blown, because mine is. And all of these things first existed as scripts. So we can now take these and we can build all that, what you just saw, into a team. And so I don't have to do anything except put in the objective of what I want, which would just be, give me I don't care about the minutes, just go and action everything for me, make it happen. So that's where we're heading, and there's going to be a lot of disruption with chatbots very, very, very soon. And I'll take you through how that's going to upset a lot of software vendors out there, but probably be really, really good for retailers. But we're using these for our clients. And like I said at the beginning of the year, it's a bit like a hammer. It's a tool. How you use it is going to determine the outcome, right? What we're doing now for clients is what we've learned by creating these tools is we can see a lot more opportunity in things like the AI automation of different aspects of their business. For instance, one of the things I'm doing right now is building a catalog of products for a big commerce website from his supplier's webpage because his supplier can't provide the catalog in the right format. So I'm just building a little tool that will help us do that. So little things like that, and that will have a massive impact on their business. So if you're interested in finding out more, then make sure you subscribe or head over across to our website, and soon we will have a chatbot up there which you can ask anything you want. Incidentally, I didn't mention it, but Jimbot, which has got, 20 years worth of content built into it and links to all my YouTube videos, you can go and have a look at Jimbot. I'll put that in the links as well. And that's just basically a massive index of all our content. And it took me ages to get it to stop giving bad advice. And it wasn't based on my content, it was ignoring my content. So this is the thing, when we get into these aspects of using these in business, sometimes these large language models have been trained on things that's not the way we would do it if you have a particular profession. And so hopefully not a doctor, but well, maybe a doctor, I don't know, if it's giving bad advice. But for me, I had to really restrict it into only talking about backlinks in the context with the information I'd already given it, because there was so much junk out there on the internet. How OpenAI has given some of the advice about SEO and thinks it's good advice is beyond me, because it's never good advice in my experience. But so you have to train your data. So regardless of what you have, whether it be Shopify having a chatbot on every site in the near future and killing a bunch of businesses, or whether it be your own chatbot for your own internal use, you've still got to train it on how you operate. And we'll have more about that next week. If you'd like me to come and talk at an organisation, just hit us up, because we're itching to get out and speak to people about this, because it's really interesting, fascinating, and it's really great to hear people's feedback. And it's interesting times. See you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.